Joey Weisenberg, and I'm just looking through the screens and seeing who's here. And please feel free to open up your screens so we can see your ponem. And if you guys wouldn't mind, please write in the chat where you're coming in from, just so we can get a sense of all the different places. Oh, it's so great. Yeah, wow. It's so beautiful. Yeah, so this it's so great to see all of you and to see all where you're coming from. Thank you for taking the time. It's kind of a dream of mine is to be able to teach like this and to share ideas and share music with folks all over the world, especially all over the country here, and um, and to be able to kind of be in touch with you as a community and to share music and share Jewish spiritual ideas. And um, this event tonight, it's called "Song is Prayer," and that is it's a welcome to Jewish spiritual music. And I know some of you have been with me for many years of exploring this topic, and others might never have heard of this at all. And we're really exploring the idea of how to how to teach Jewish spiritual music. In some ways, to be totally honest, it's a term that we're kind of making up. Because Jewish spiritual music, well, it exists. It isn't really called that very often, and it's just a term that really makes a lot of sense to me, and I really like the way that music can bring us so close to our Jewish beings, and how it can also, connect the spiritual and the physical realms in ways that few things can. So we're gonna. I'll be playing some tracks of some music tonight and singing a little bit, and also just trying to share some ideas about what we're doing, what it is that makes this music Jewish, what makes it spiritual, and we'll have some time for you all to ask questions as well. So, by way of getting into this, I want to improvise. Okay, and here's what it's gonna be. I'm gonna start singing, and I'm gonna narrate what's going on in my head. I'm just gonna take some little breaks here and there to say, here's what I'm thinking about as this is happening. Sound okay? Okay. So start off with a note. Oh. Yeah, and you feel free to join on that note if you want. Oh. And you know what I'm thinking right now is how nice it would be if we were all in the same room and we could hear that communal hum. But it's also kind of magical to think that we're all over the country or world and we're singing this note together. Oh. Now, this note is the ground note. I just picked it out of thin air, so it's nothing important about this particular note, but it feels to me like the ground right now. Oh. Now I sing a note for a little while, and it starts to get me ready for whatever's going to come next, which is going to be some kind of ascent from the ground into the heavens. Okay, but it's going to take its time. Okay, and the reason that we're starting on the ground is because that's where Jacob started his dream. Jacob was dreaming. We'll get there soon in the Torah, but Jacob was dreaming of a ladder that was rooted in the ground, and the ladder was going all the way up into the heavens. and the angels were going up and down the ladder. Okay, we'll think about what angels are in just a second, maybe. Oh. Sometimes we dig down a little bit before we go up. Okay, and in musical terms, you're kind of you're emphasizing the ground. Oh. Okay, I'm starting to think about how I'm going to climb up this ladder of music. And you hear what I'm starting to experience as I'm singing is the way the old folks used to sing. And there, those I'm trying to start to channel some of those sounds and have them come into my being, and to get me warmed up. Always warming up with the music and the way of singing of the old farts. Oh, because the old people, when I was a kid and I would hear people who were 2 or 3 generations older than me singing, their voice had a quiver to it. It might have been partly because they were old, but it was also because their souls knew how to shake a little bit. Okay, so so their notes when they would sing would dance like that. It wasn't just a note, it was a whole trembling experience. Okay, and still the best singers I hear are like that. Okay, so here I'm just keep emphasizing the ground, and every melody, it makes its way up the ladder, up into the heavens. Okay, and then by the end it comes back down, and it ends up on the ground again. Okay, and that's because the angels go up. That the angels, which are sort of the messengers of the spirit, the messengers of the dream world. The angels are able to go up and down and transverse these different worlds. Okay, and that's why we're exploring spiritual music here, right? And spiritual music, the idea, the basic premise of anything spiritual, is that we have, and many of you have been exploring this for longer than I've been alive, but so this might not be news, but the basic premise of everything spiritual is that there's two worlds. Okay, there's the physical world, which is the world of that's of the ground, of the Aretz and the Adamah. It's the clay, and it's the world of science and fact, and it's the world of logic, and it's the world of reality. And then there's another world, which is the world of the imagination. And in the imagination is the world where things are irrational, where they're subconscious, where they're full of dreams, where we never quite know what's going to happen, and where there's deep truths that are around every corner that are speaking to us, but they might not be verified by actual documents, right? So when we are singing, we're transversing these two worlds. There's the physical side of singing, which is the vibrations that our body is feeling, And then there's the spiritual world, which is in that other world, the world of the heavens, of the Shemayim, and the world of the imagination. And our angels and our notes and our prayers are climbing up the ladder and back down to connect us between these two ways of being. Right? We don't want to only live in the heavens, because then we have nothing to do down on earth. But we also don't want to live only on the earth, because then we don't have any of the perspective that comes from the heavens. Okay? So that's why we sing, is basically to connect, to take our place as humans, which are, and by the way, humans, the word in Hebrew is Adam, for humankind, right? And it's halfway in between the Adamah, which is the ground, and the Dimion, which is the imagination, the world, and it has all of the same root, the Daled Mem, which is Dam, which means blood. It kind of, our humanness is the very factor which is able to be rooted in the ground and also to reach into into the world of the imagination. Is this making sense? Okay. So we connect the world of the physical Adamah, the ground, and we connect that into the world of Dimion, the world of imagination, through our humanness, through our being Adam, being a descendant of the first Adam. Right? Okay, so when we sing, I'm starting to imagine this ladder that's moving into the angelic realm, where angels are real. Okay, and where we tell the stories and they become real. Okay, so you see there was like one entire ladder climb of the nigun, of the nigun, which is the wordless melody. Okay, any objections? Okay. Let me keep going for a little bit. Okay. What I'm trying to do is to get the notes to be alive. Okay. And because basically the point of spiritual music is to remind us that we're alive. Okay. Because many of us are going around feeling understandably overwhelmed and cut off from our expression of humanity. And just because we've gone through traumas and we've had hard times, and it's not a single person who hasn't. And sometimes we're so overwhelmed that we can't feel the life force. And so music is designed to shake us a little bit, and until our souls start to quiver, and that's called a tenuah, a shaking. Like when we shake the lulav and etrog together on Sukkot, that's called the na'anuim. And the word nun ayin is a form of shaking. It's also a form of wandering. And we kind of wander into the desert where we don't know anything and we receive wisdom there and we shake. Okay. So the notes themselves quiver, and as the notes quiver, we quiver a little bit. You hear those little quivers? Right? Those are the little quiverings of the soul. They're supposed to help us find the quiverings. They also like their little dances, and they help our souls to dance a little bit. Okay. I hope you understand. This is you came to the lecture on spiritual music, right? So, okay. You hear the notes, they slip and slide, they're a little bit slippery. They're like, ah. Okay. On a piece of paper, if you anybody here read music? Some, many. Okay. When you look at note music on a piece of paper, you get you get a note and it looks like a dot. Okay. And the job of the musician or the singer, and that's could be any of you, is to take the dot and to make it alive. Okay. And the same thing is happening with our lives. Okay, so you might know this story in the book in Ezekiel from Yechezkel. And Ezekiel goes and sees a whole valley full of bones. Raise your hand if you've heard this setup to this story before. And if you haven't, that you're about to hear it. Okay, there's a whole bunch of bones lying in a valley, and Ezekiel's imagining this. He's because that's what prophets did. They had amazing imaginations. Okay, and like prophetic imaginations, and they were able. He sees these bones, and the first thing that he notices is that they're reassembling into the shape of human beings, into the shape of corpses. They're like turning into skeletons. I mean, okay. Then the next thing he notices is that muscles are reappearing on the bones, and then sinews connect the muscles, and then skin comes over the muscles, and they look like corpses that are lying there all dead, like hundreds of thousands of them. Kind of gruesome story, but and then the last thing he sees is the breath of life is breathed into these bones. Okay, and that's the end of the story. Because that's as far as it goes in the Tanakh. But then the Talmud picks up the story, because whenever a story is left unfinished in the Torah or in the prophets or the writings, the Tanakh, the Talmud or the Midrash comes along to finish the story off. So it says, so what happened next? Okay, and the way the story goes, the Talmud finishes the story in 5 words. It says, "Amdu al raglehem, ve'amru shira, ve'metu." It says they stood up on their feet, they sang a song, and they died. Okay, and that's, by the way, is considered the most famous story of resurrection in the Jewish tradition. Okay, and and so just to say that just want to invite, if you want to turn off your screen, it might be, there's a few folks who could turn off screens, and it might be a solid idea. Um, okay, so anyway, back to this story. We have these bones. They came back to life, and the best resurrection story in the entire Jewish tradition. It says. Sorry, I'm just a little distracted by something. Hold on. Okay. It says that they stood up, they sang a song, and then they died. It's almost like the definition of being alive is that you can sing a song. Okay, you can stand on your feet for just a moment if you're lucky. You can sing a song, and then you die again. Okay. So that's the approach that I take as well with Jewish spiritual song. So, and when you have a note, we imitate that, and we say oh, and we imagine there's a note. It's just a bone that needs to be brought to life. Okay, and then we start to bring the note to life, and then we bring ourselves to life through it. Okay. Oh, you can do it with me. Oh, I am I. Da 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 da. Oh, la la. Okay, I'm trying to let the notes dance and wiggle and become alive. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. Okay, we're back to the ground again. Okay, so every melody takes off. It dances. It gets a little higher. It dances. The angels climb up the ladder. At the top of the ladder, they form a garland out of all of the different notes, and they put those notes as a garland, as a crown onto God's head. Okay, those are the angels, which are our notes, which are the messengers of our imaginary world. Okay, and I'm not making any of this up. This is almost everything verbatim is a quote from the sages from long ago in various forms. I might be imagining it all talking together as one, but these are all made up of ideas from the distant past. Okay, so sometimes the notes then will take on a rhythm. Okay, and the rhythm is there to give us a sort of a communal heartbeat, and we want that communal heartbeat because it brings us together in ways that we need a little pulse for. Okay, so it was just the other day I heard this niggin, and I'll sing it for you. Oh da 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 dee da dee da ba da dum bum ba. Oh da dee da dee da 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 dee bum ba. Da dee da dee da dee dum. I dum dum. di da, da di da di da da dum, ha da dum bum ba, ha da di da 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 di dum, ba da dum bum ba, ha ya da 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 di da da dum bum ba, ha ya da 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 dum ba da dim bum ba, ha da 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 dum ba da dim bum ba. Da da da, hi li 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 li, hi da da dee da, hi da da dum bum bum, dee da 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 la la la, ya da 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 la la, oh ho lo lo lo, hi da da la la, dee da 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 la la la, ya da 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 la la, oh ho lo lo lo, hi dee 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 da. Okay, so do you see what happened? It started low. Oh, ha, da 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 dee da dee da. That's the A section. Then it gets a little higher, and then finally it gets really high, such that perhaps I shouldn't even be singing that high. And then it gets low again. It gets halfway down, going back down the ladder, and then it comes in for a landing and gets low again. Hi diddy dum bum ba, and it comes back to the ground. Make sense? Okay, this is the way every Jewish melody works. Okay, I mean, if it doesn't work that way, then it's a really interesting exception. Because almost every melody, it's designed to go up the ladder of song. It's also what we naturally do. We naturally kind of get higher, and then we come back down. And it just keeps going up and down. Okay, so just going to pause for a second, and I want to see if anybody has questions. Okay, and by questions, I would really appreciate it if they're questions and not statements. Okay, so if you have questions, will you take a moment and just write it into the chat? And also, you can use the hand raising tool. If you look at the bottom of your screen, it says React, and you click on that, and there's a hand raising option. And you can click Raise Hand, and we might be able to hear a few questions from folks. That'll help me understand if I'm talking sense.
Oh, it's live. Mm.
Okay. So I'm just going to kind of go down the order a little bit here. I'm not going to be able to take every question, but keep writing them. And it's helpful to know what the questions are because it helps us figure out what we can answer um, over time. I do want to just share before I start looking at these questions in too much depth and getting carried away that every month now we have a question and answer session as part of our online Song is Prayer community, which we'd love to invite you to come to. It's where if you're starting to learn stuff about Jewish spiritual music, or if you've been in it for your whole life, a chance to kind of come and ask anything, and we kind of and I share my thoughts on it kind of directly. And you can do that by subscribing to joeyweisenberg.com, which I really want to invite you all to do. It's like it's been a real dream of mine for the last decade or so to be able to build a website that has a huge amount of teaching material that kind of goes past the event. Because I used to go around the country and the world playing concerts a lot, and what I noticed was that the night would start and it would end, and then it was over, and I never got to see anybody again, and I wasn't able to keep learning. And now we've put up 1,000 videos or more online that allows people to learn how to lead davening, or how to sing a melody in at their table, or how to play guitar, or how to play drums, or how to lead a room in singing, how to make your own music, how to produce your own albums, and also there's also a complete songbook of all of the music that we've produced that has sheet music and just so many resources. There's a whole section now on Psalms, if you're somebody who likes Psalms, that goes through many of the Psalms and how they are sung, how we sing them, how I sing them. A lot of compositions and thought on it, and I just really want to invite you, even right now or anytime you feel like it, if it seems like a good match for you, to subscribe and join us in the work. I think there are some people who really want to. There's like three different kinds of people. Some really want to do a real deep dive into the material, into some aspect of music. They really want to learn how to lead Rosh Hashanah davening, which is a real deep dive. And then there's people who want to do kind of like a quick immersion, like jump in for a little while and jump out. And for them, watching the song, looking at the songbook videos, or looking at the performance archive where there's hundreds of videos of really beautiful performances, would be for you. And then there's also people who really just want to dip their toes in the water. And for them, there's a whole highlights. We kind of picked out our favorite videos from the whole site, and you can just kind of go and explore and enjoy it. So just really want to invite you all to be a part of this, and also when you subscribe, it supports the work we do and allows us to continue making things, and we really, really appreciate that. Okay, so let's have a look at these questions. Okay, so Herb Rubenstein, if you're there, would you say your question out loud about communal heartbeat?
Sure.
Great.
Happy to do that, Joey.
Turn the video on too.
And the question is, as I pull it up, it was, what do you really mean by communal heartbeat? And is there a Jewish source where that phrase is used? And just where did you get this concept?
Okay, great. The heartbeat itself is not a particularly Jewish concept, but the idea of coming together as a sort of What I would call it, the thing that's a very Jewish concept is the harp beat, which is the way that we all get together as Jews, and it's even the some of the mystics like in 500 years ago would say that the secret of getting together and singing for Jews is that they all become the harp of David. Okay, which means that we're all vibrating differently, but we're resonating together. Okay, so some of us are like the super tight strings, and they go tick 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 tick, tick, and others are super loose. And I imagine like Harpo sticking his leg through the harp, and pulling the bass string, and it's very loose. Um, and uh, and so we all are different types of strings. But when we get together on a communal instrument called the harp, we can actually we can make the most resonant, beautiful sound together, right? And that's really my dream for for my work and for all of us is that we can find these places where we can sing together and where we can make something truly beautiful. If you have two people, or all the more so if you have a minion, if you have 10 people, and if you have 100 people, in every version of these things, whenever there's one more person than you at very least, you have the chance to resonate in, and it's really a sort of like a hint of the divine. And it's called a remez, where when we sing with somebody else, we have a whole new set of information that we're relating to, and it gives us this immediate perspective that's beyond us. Okay. And so one thing that there's not a lot of mention of the actual heartbeat in Jewish texts. Maybe there's a few, but there was the concept of the drum. The drum was another instrument that was, well, the toph always went with the machol, and so when there were mentions of drumming in the Talmud, when they were thinking about the big orchestra of the temple days, and the orchestra would be a total mess until the conductor, whose name was Asaph, would pick up his two cymbals, one in each hand, and get everybody together with the communal beat. And then suddenly the orchestra became this mythical orchestra that we still remember the music of today. We don't know the actual notes, but we remember how beautiful the sound was in the tradition. In fact, that's what we're referring to in Psalm 150 as well, the very final psalm, when it says "V'tofu machol." As soon as the drums kick in, then suddenly there's a big circle dance, the machol, and the circle dance is endlessly revolving, and that's basically us endlessly revolving around an empty space in the middle from which comes the miraculous. Okay, I'm just going to take another one. Okay, Rebecca, Rebecca Rosenbaum, do you want to ask your question? Okay, just trying to find questions here. So many. All right, I tell you what. Let's take one from the screen. Jacqueline, would you like to offer a question? No. Okay. Okay, bracha.
Did you want me to say something?
Yeah, you raised your hand. Did you have a question?
Uh, yeah, it's interesting that Rem is backwards
Okay,
Zemmer.
Yeah. Yeah. So the when you take the word in Hebrew for hint, which is
Yeah,
remez, and you turn it around.
You have a question?
Yeah, it's interesting that Rem is backwards
Okay,
Zemmer.
Yeah.
I'm hearing a repeat. Okay.
Yeah. So the
Hold on one sec. Okay. I was just hearing a weird repeat, so I'm trying to get rid of that. Um, okay, so let's just look at the words for a second for song, since Bracha brought that up about zemer. Zemer is one of the words we have for song. Since we have let's think about the title of this of this workshop for a second, which is "Song is Prayer: An Introduction to Jewish Spiritual Music." Okay, so we have song, prayer, Jewish, spiritual, and music. And each of those means something that we're going to just unpack for a second. Okay, but first is up is song. And song in Hebrew has, well, there aren't so many words for it in English. You might have chant and song and hymn. In Hebrew, there's a fair number of them. You have song, you have shirah, you have zemer, you have nigun, rina, and then there's even more, and very many of them have to do with, they have concepts that are connected to war terminology. Something about every one of those has to do with cutting, or with a sort of like a punching through. Like the word zemer means both to sing and also to prune or to cut. Okay, and the word shirah means to sing, but it also means to wrestle, right? Like Yisrael, according to the Sfas Emes, the name Israel, the name of our people, means both to wrestle with God and also Yashir El, which means to sing to God. Okay, so like baked into the character of our people is this sort of desire to sing. And the idea of the zemer is that when we sing a zemer, we're cutting through all of the nonsense that surrounds our ears and our hearts, so that we can hear the deeper things that need to be heard. Okay, so it's my experience that after singing a nigun, my ears work better, and I'm able to hear my friends or my family better than I can also hear the sounds of the crickets and the. Try this, by the way, right when we're done. Go sing a melody to yourself outside, and then listen for 3 minutes afterwards, and I bet that you'll find, like me, that you can hear many of the sounds of nature that you hadn't been able to hear before. It's just because what's happening when we sing is that we're focusing the music comes along and cuts away all of the noise that surrounds, and all of the arrogance that basically surrounds our beings, and it allows us to hear into the world better, and also not just into the world but into ourselves. We're able to hear some of the nuances of ourselves that we often ignore, for better or worse. And included in that is we're able to hear also the dream world better. And that's why any time that the prophets used to be walking around delivering prophecy, they always had a band that would play while they were prophesying, because they could not really do their prophecy in the old days without music. And so it's with us as well. When we sing, our dreams are awakened, and the whole dream world that is stuck in our subconscious becomes at least a 60th percent more accessible, and sometimes even more. Okay, and so we get that little taste of prophecy, which is experiencing our dreams more directly. Okay, so when we do that, by the way, when we're getting in touch with the inside of ourselves, that is the world of prayer. Okay, because that's also what prayer is. Prayer is the expression that comes from our guts that just wants to scream out, or it wants to express all of the depth of being human. It wants to talk to the world and speak into the dream world and connect with God that way. Right? And that's what we're doing when we're praying. So in a sense, when we're singing, it is bringing our prayers out of us. Okay. It turns out that there's all kinds of Jewish sources about this as well. But just to say that the song becomes a sort of a outer expression of what is really on the inside of us, and our inner prayers are able to find expression in the world through our songs, and they're also able to connect with the prayers and songs of everybody else around us, such that we really make an even bigger song. Okay, and so I know many of us dream about being able to be in a place where we just hear a song bubbling up, and it's coming from all of us, and the song and prayer become one. And there's a story about this. The song is prayer, which is that in the old temple, King Solomon was finishing up the temple. You might have read this story if you read the Tanakh ever, but the King Solomon's finishing the temple, and it's the most glorious temple you've ever seen. It's, in our imaginations at least. It was gigantic rocks that could, who knows how they got them into place or how they cut them, except with the shamir, this special worm that cut through these rocks. And they had arches everywhere, and they had wood that was made out of the cedars of Lebanon. And then to top it all off, they put gold all over the entire temple. The entire thing was gilded, which came with its own set of mistakes. But Solomon is about to dedicate the temple, which he spent a lot of time building. And he looks up at God and he says, God, look, you're probably not going to be too impressed by this temple, because after all, you're the one who built the entire heavens and earth. So, the temple is probably not going to be too exciting for you. But one thing you might enjoy is the song and the prayer that comes out of this temple. So he says, so God, lishmoa el harina ve'el hatfila, I'd like to beg you to listen to the song and the prayer, the rina and the tefillah that are going to happen here. And that's kind of one of the birthplaces of where rina, which is joyous song, and tefillah begin to go together. And they stay that way through the Talmud, where the Talmud says you have to have any place where you have song, you'll have prayer, basically. Or sometimes it's more strong than that, which says that's one of the reasons why they say you have to daven in a shul where there's a minyan, if possible, where there's 10 people, because they assumed that if you had 10 people together, they'd be singing. And so if they were singing, that would be the place where you'd want to pray. So the prayer and the song were supposed to live together in the shul, in the synagogue. Okay, that's on the 6th page of the Talmud. Okay, so so song is prayer. These two things go together, and I'm just really excited now to have. If you go to songisprayer.com, you'll get the same website now. So we're kind of in this process of redreaming up this website that I'm inviting you all to join, so that to really focus on the prayer element of it, the way that song and prayer come together, and it really summarizes like almost all of the work that I've been lucky enough to do so far in my life. There's also the Jewish side of it is really important. First of all, that's the subject of the site. The music comes from the Jewish world. I know somebody said, "Is this all Ashkenazi?" I forgot where the question was. Or, do you find? Oh yeah, Fortuna said regarding the movement of Jewish music moving up or down. Is that the same for Sephardi music? And I think yes. In my experience, the Sephardic Jews don't particularly sing nigunim like I they Sephardim really like words very much. This is really good at words in that culture, and so they tend to have lots and lots of piyutim, which are like almost liturgical poetry that. And but the melodies operate similarly, even though they're different types of melodies. They operate the same, which is they start low and they tend to move up to around an octave, moving through a makam system, which has a few quarter tones in it, which you can't find on the piano. We've recently made a record of that music called Kedma, which you can look up and enjoy. But yeah, all melodies, even outside the Jewish world, but certainly in Sephardi music and Arabic music, there's that's followed. So, but the Jewish side, just to be sure, Jews, the word Jewish comes from the word, kind of the Yiddish German way of saying Yehudim. Okay, and Yehudim are people who come from the tribe of Yehuda, and Yehuda had the name Yehuda because of a thanksgiving that was made. Okay, and so the Jewish people are called Jewish because of the idea of giving thanks and of being able to appreciate life as it's happening. Okay, which might be a slight contrast to how if we look around and we see all the kvetching that's constantly happening, we might not realize that the name of our people means to give thanks. Right. And so, this sense of every time that we take a breath, we're experiencing a miracle. And every time the breath goes in and out, it can come back out with a song. And that song is the song of life. Okay. So, for example, if we sing, Nishmat kol chai, tivarech et shimecha, Hashem Hashem, Elokeinu, Nishmat kol chai, Tivarech et shimecha, Hashem Elokeinu. Tidilai lai la 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 o la la ai la la ya la 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 ai la 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 o la 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 ai la 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 arai tidira ra ra ai la 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 o la o right? That's Nishmat Kol Chai, which means the breath of all life, or the soul of all life is giving a blessing. Okay, and that's part of the Shabbat liturgy. We sing it every week. And there's also this place in the Haggadah on Passover, on Pesach, that I really love, and it tells the whole story of coming out of Egypt, or at least alludes to it. And then there's this line. It says, "Lefichach anu chayavim lehodot lehalel leshabeach lefaer leramim lehader levarech lealeo lekales." It says, and therefore, because we were just freed, we are obligated to sing, to give thanks, to give more praise, to give praise that rises up, to sing more, to give brachas, and then to sing again. Right? So this kind of this obligation that we have as Jews, that when we're able to appreciate being alive, even for just that moment that we appreciate it, it comes out in song. Okay, and the most classic example of that was at the sea, when, at the end of that Passover story, and the Israelites come through the sea, and the sea closes. They've survived, and they're all on dry land, and all as one they sing the most famous of Jewish songs, which is Az Yashir Moshe. And this is what Moses sang, Uvenei Yisrael, and with all the people of Israel, Et Hashira Hazod Ladonai, they sang this song to God, Vayomru Lemor, and it went like this. There's a quote from the Torah. Ashir al Adonai ki gagawa. And that's a Spanish-Portuguese melody. Sus v'rochavo da 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 rahama vayam. Okay, and it just goes on like that, and on, and that's the song that was sung at the most famous song of all, the song of survival and of the miracle of being alive. Okay. Well, by the way, I know I'm talking a lot at you all. It's like just too big of a group to have a conversation. But just to say that I'm really appreciating you all being here and listening to this. And I hope that I'm able to share a little bit of my heart with you, and to explain a little bit about where I'm coming from with all this music that I and my colleagues make. And just to say again how much I want you all to join us on this journey, and that I really would love to invite you to subscribe to this to the site, the Song is Prayer site, where you can learn how to do all of these things in great depth. There's really like as I look at it, there's so much there. It's like and it's we tried to keep it a very reasonable price of $18 a month, just to make it accessible for folks, so that it wouldn't be too much of a problem. But if anybody has trouble paying it, feel free to reach out and we'll reduce it further. But meanwhile, those of you who do subscribe, not only have the chance to learn from all the resources, but also to support the work, and we greatly appreciate it. All right. So, are there any other questions? I feel like that was part one of what can be another like 10 sessions, and we'll probably do them this year. Feel free to use the hand raising function at the bottom of the screen, React, and if you have questions. Oh, yeah. Okay, I was on the wrong screen. Now I see some questions. Stan. Can you unmute? Stan,
Yes.
there you are. Did you have a question?
Cantor Neil Schwartz has been raising his hand for a while.
Oh, okay. Now I'm seeing the order on the screen. Neil, hi.
Howdy, howdy. Could you please share with everybody where your book is published, who had the honor of publishing it, and how can people obtain it?
Oh, good question. I'm not totally sure how to obtain. um, I have two books. One is called Building Singing Communities, and the other one is called The Torah of Music. And the Torah of Music is kind of a summary of a lot of the words of the sages, the dreamscapes of the sages and how of the Jewish sages and how they thought about music. Many of the ideas are ideas that are also available on the site, on the Song is Prayer site under the Torah of Music. I'll actually just show you that. Oops. Okay, so for example, if you go to the front page of the site and you go to Torah of Music, and then you're able to sign in and you'll be able to see many of the stories and the words of the sages about music. So that's a good place to go to get some of those ideas.
But both of those are printed books. Have you actually got a book of actual notated music out?
Oh, I don't have. I do have a songbook as well. It's a little bit on the old side. So but one thing that we do have on the site. Sorry, I keep going back to this, but there's a songbook on the site which I'm so excited about. We got this together this year, which has sheet music for every single song that we've written. Are you able to see my screen right now?
No, nope, just you.
Let me just start that again. Yeah. Yeah, so if you go to the course library and you go to Joey's songbook, then you can see the printed sheet music for every song that I've ever written.
Wow.
And they're lead sheets, so they're not like choir arrangements, but let's just pick
just
one.
Fine.
Like
for those of us who read music, this will open up the door to being able to sing your stuff better.
This is kind of like a songbook plus, because you get videos, you get instructional music, you get links to all the places that it's played, and then you also get the sheet music, and you get words laid out and translated.
Wow.
And then a little bit of commentary, and you can download the MP3. So there's a lot of value there, and lots of details and thoughts. So yeah, I would just love to invite. I think this is something that many people might really enjoy, is the chance to just peruse a lot of the music. And thanks for bringing that up, Cantor.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing with us.
Yeah. How do you say your name? Brianna?
Brianna.
Brianna.
Hi,
thanks,
thank you, Joey. I always love listening to you and your music, and I want to also make a comment. There's a song that your group does called Makom Bina.
Oh yeah.
And I keep it. I only have two things on my desktop. One is with Rabbi Michael Esformas, his songs, and I also have Makom Bina, and I play it at night. So I'm trying to calm myself down to try to go to sleep with so much under my mind, like everything going on in the world and what have you, just lower my stress level. And when I play Makom Bima, and the way and I watch your reaction to her while she's singing, and at one point you could tell you're almost ecstatic listening during the music. I mean, I don't know, your mouth, your tongue comes out, and it's almost like with such joy that I just makes me laugh, and I just enjoy the way she sings and the whole group. It's one of my favorite songs.
That's wonderful. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, my tongue coming out of my mouth is kind of a thing that has happened since I've been in high school when I started playing blues guitar, and all of my favorite blues guitarists, their faces were just completely wild.
That's body language. It's just so
And
beautiful.
I also learned that from my dad, who routinely makes contorted faces while playing guitar, and so when something good is going on, it's nice to sometimes let go.
Thank you for everything you do and you share for everyone. It's so
Thanks.
beautiful. It's so spiritual. Thank you.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Thanks for the comment, Marcia.
Hi, I want to know, how did you guys find the arranger Ayo Owasika who did Gesher for you guys? Did the whole group find her, and did she just do the vocal arrangements, or did she arrange the entire song? And is it based on that motto that you described for us?
Yeah, okay, so Gesher is a song from Joseph Goldman's album, and I produced the song, and it was really such a joy to do. And a few of the songs, Joseph had a friend arrange some vocal parts, which was really unusual for us, because most of the time we make up all of our vocal harmonies on the spot. And we really enjoy that process of just kind of starting to feel the sounds. But in this case, I think a few songs he had one of his friends actually hired somebody to write out lines, and they learned them, and that's a process that's really fun to do, just because you get somebody else's input on what sounds good, but most of the time we really enjoy the process of just listening into the air and figuring out where our places should be. And as for the rest of the music, that's the way that came together as well on that song and all of the songs, which is, I write out a lead sheet that has some of the chords on it and has the melody just to help get everybody kind of oriented. But then we very quickly leave behind the lead sheet and just start to make up our parts. And I found that with great musicians, and that's a big if, but if you have good musicians, like musicians whose ideas you love, then you want to give them permission to make things that are better than what you would come up with. So when Mike Friedman is playing the lap steel, for example, he's going to come up with a much better lap steel part than I'm going to come up with. So I, a long time ago, abandoned the idea of writing out parts for people and just decided that we were all just largely going to improvise. And if anything has to be corrected, we can correct it.
Wow, how jazzy of you.
It is. It's the approach that I learned from the world of jazz and from the world of improvised music and from the world of session musicianship, which is something that I spent a lot of time doing as a musician in New York City, where my job was to, I'd be given like a count of 1, 2, 3, 4 in the studio, and the music would start, and I had to play something, and that's the way that's the job. The job is just to come up with something on the spot, and many musicians in Nashville and New York and LA, the Muscle Shoals Band, many of those and the Funk Brothers in Detroit, and those bands, they had zero preparation time before they recorded their greatest hits. They just start playing, and that's a lot of times the best things come out of that. Also, a lot of mistakes. So you take a risk and you get a lot of mistakes, and you get some moments that are just incredible, and I'm after the incredible moments, and so I'm willing to go for the mistakes as well. And by the way, if for anybody who wants to take a deeper dive into these things I'm talking about here, which is really technical musical stuff, we also have a whole a whole series where I'm talking about all of this stuff. I just want to show you in this mentoring section. There's a section on composing, arranging, producing, performing. So in that case, it would be like in the producing section, and there's ways of kind of go through the entire process from start to finish on how we made our albums, and how we continue to do that. So just want to invite you, if that's where your interest is, that's for you. Thank you, Marcia. Yeah. Judith.
Hello. First of all, thank you for the amazing, amazing resources that you have compiled for us, created. It's really mind-blowing and fabulous. You mentioned that there was a Song is Prayer community with question and answers on a monthly basis, and can you tell me where to find more information about that?
Yeah, well, we've just started this in the last few months. We started at High Holidays, and then we had our last week. We did our first question and answer session, and I just love it so much. I love it. I love going into a session and just not knowing what's going to come up, and and then seeing what people are asking, and it's a way for us all to share in a bit of a dialogue, and there's many fewer people in these questions and answer sessions, so sometimes we're able to discuss things, and it becomes a sort of online thought community in a sense. Also a way for because so many of the videos that we make are unidirectional, and it's the best we can do, but it's going at you. And so the question and answer sessions are a way to reflect back and say, this is what I'm thinking, I'm wondering about this, and to really engage that way. Once you sign up, you'll be added to the list of folks who get emails about when those sessions are. And our next one is within the month. I can't remember the date offhand.
Okay, so I've been a subscriber for a year or more.
Oh.
So maybe I'm just missing emails, not seeing them.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll take. I'll ask Josh here. Josh Fleet, by the way, works with me and helps really make all of this happen. And he's on the call here. And Josh, we also appreciate your work. And Josh can take your name, and we can try to resend you that email and just make sure that we're getting through to you.
Thank you very much.
If you wouldn't mind, you can also just write to us and remind us of this question you have, and then we'll be sure to respond to you.
Writing to you at
just
the contact on the
support. Yeah, support at joeyweisenberg.com, I think.
Okay, thank you.
You should see it at the top of the screen on the site. Rebecca Rosenbaum, do you still have a question?
Yes. Can you hear me? Did I unmute?
I can hear you. I can't see your face.
Okay. Thank you for taking my question before. I'm old, so I'm a Luddite, and there were so many people I thought I had to find my own little picture to click on unmute. Okay, so here's my question.
Yeah.
I'm really interested. I didn't know anything about you, but I'm really interested that you came out of you were already a musician, but for me, so much secular music feels like a prayer. And during the pandemic and a lot of horrible things that have happened, it's music that got me through. And I write fan mail, and I tell these musicians, the doctors think they're my healthcare team, but you are. It's RX Musica. And then I was asking if you think that, let's say, I know you're writing original nigunim, but based on the tradition of elders. But first of all, it's only guys. Second of all, what about, and I'm glad you mentioned about singing when we crossed the Red Sea, but you left out Miriam, so please forgive me for being upset about that, but everything else has been wonderful. But would you consider Menachem creditors like Olam Chesed, Yevoneh, and some of what Matisyahu is doing, in particular, I think I wouldn't have survived the last 2 years without having One Day as the soundtrack of my life. So is that religious? What do you think? You know what I mean? That's my question.
Oh
Does
yeah,
that make
well, such
sense?
a great question. Yeah, and
But it's bigger than that because there's also I'm basically an old folkie, even though I do love jazz. But I'll get into a thing, and it doesn't make sense. Why is that music touching my soul? Like I mean, I've been listening to Dead Flowers on repeat, not Mick, but Townes Van Zandt, and it's almost like looking at abstract art. I can't tell you why it's touching my soul,
oh
but
yeah,
like it's bingo, bingo, bingo. And also, I listened to this guy named Lorenzo Bertocchini, who I highly recommend, who's in Italy, who sang every day the first 100 days of the pandemic until his hands were bleeding, and has been live streaming ever since because when there were no venues, all these wonderful musicians showed up on live stream, and I became a total music junkie. And a bunch of us are still hanging with him, but these people from all over the world listen to him, and he has created a caring community in
yes.
cyberspace.
Thank you
And
for
it's,
Rebecca.
but
Thank you
I
for
talk too much. I
sharing.
apologize.
No,
I
no,
can't
it's
sing.
beautiful. The question is so interesting, and for me, it's really. I'll just say that it's really obvious to me that all music does this, not just Jewish spiritual music. All music is a sort of a pathway into the angelic realm in some way, if it strikes you that way. That's what notes are fundamentally doing. They're shaking us. They're allowing us to move and to enter into a spiritual realm. It's spiritual music that calls itself spiritual music is doing it intentionally. And all other music does it anyway, and that's why music is so amazing. you know no matter if it's intentionally being spiritual like Bach, or if it's intentionally being mundane, it's still spiritual. So that's why when I grew up in Milwaukee, I had two sources aside from my mother and my father, who were playing music all the time. I had these two outside sources of musical inspiration, and one was the blues bars that I was uh, spending a lot of time in. And there was like this whole blues trail that came up from Mississippi up to Chicago, up to Milwaukee, up to Grafton, where a lot of the music was recorded. And so there was all this blues in the air, and the blues was like the most mundane subject matter you can possibly imagine. I don't have a penny in my pocket. By the way, it was all the stuff that at age 12 and 13 I had no idea how to understand. Okay, like I didn't know what it was like to not have a penny in my pocket, and I also didn't know what it meant when they were talking about all kinds of other things. Okay, but it was like that also there was the other side of town where I got musical inspiration was from the Twersky Hasidim, and in the shul from the cantor. And I didn't always know I was getting it, but I was getting it. And the Hasidim were singing these amazing nigunim, and they were very consciously having it be spiritual. Like the idea was to reach into the higher worlds and to dwell there, and to live in a world of that felt like the world to come, Me'en Olam Haba. Okay, and you're supposed to be able to experience that through singing together. Okay, but I would just say that in my experience, both the Hasidic song and also the blues bars, they both reached the same place. It's like music that reached deep inside, and it grabs the heart and it grabs the guts, and it brings us up and out into a different place. And I'm forever grateful for that, and for that experience that well, honestly, my parents gave me by taking me to these places. And to say that all music is following the ancient art of the muse, right? Which is where the word music comes from. It's following the art of the muse, which is the art of inspiration, which is the art of the in breath, which is the art of the neshama. Okay, that's the art of the soul. Okay, so it doesn't matter what dream world we're entering, because you can have the dream world of the blues can be a dream world for many people as well, just as much as the dream world of the holy rabbis. There are different ways of getting into the dream world, and that's the world of the imagination where prayers can ascend. Or they can also descend. And we can discover the depths of our beings in ways that we can't without music. Okay. So we're going to come in for a landing here. I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time. I'd love to invite you again to subscribe and join. Many of the people who are still on the screen are already longtime subscribers and friends, but we really want to grow our impact by having you be a part of our world and get to learn with you and from you as well. So I look forward to seeing you at our future events, and thanks so much for coming. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, everybody. And now I'll go and read what was written in the chats. It looked like there were some good things going on over there.
Sing us out.
A lot of people asked you to close with a song.
Oh, is that what?
You'll find it out.
Okay.
You're great. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, okay, I'll play you something from the songbook, actually.
Amen.
Well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. I look forward to seeing you down the line. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Lila Tov.
Lila Tov. And take care.
Thank you for making such a
Lila
beautiful evening.
Thank you.
Lila Tov.
Tov.
Lila Tov.
Cantor Tillman.
Sei gesund.
La 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 Lila Tov.
You were referring to David Tillman? Hello, David.
Yeah. Hi, Naomi. Hi, Cantor. Cantor. I couldn't hear you.
Thank you.
To the chat that I was a couple blocks away from you.
Yeah.
Hey, Lana and Jim, hello.
Maybe you can send us a copy of this, Joey, if you have our email addresses.
Yeah, this will be available on the site in probably in a few days.
Yeah, let me know. Thank you.
Audio note.
You're really wonderful in every way, Joey. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Speechless from it all.
Thank you so much.
You know, we're
Ilana and Jim, can you give a wave if you heard me?
David Tillman.
Are they good?
Went to school with me.
All right, I'm heading out. Goodbye, everybody.
bye.
Thanks so much.
Good night. Thank you so much.
Wait, who was saying hello
Good
to us?
night, David. Naomi Hirsch, Cantor Naomi Hirsch.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
From a few years ago.
A
few years ago, indeed. Great to see you.
Yeah, that's great. Sweet dreams. Where are you? Where are you?
In Philadelphia, a few blocks away from Joey.
Oh, that's great. That's beautiful.
Very nice to see you.
You
and hear you.
too.
Hey, David, nice to see you in New Jersey, too. This is the after party.
Exactly.
Naomi.
No.
Yes.
And I went to my party in about 6 years since the pandemic at your brother and sister-in-law's last weekend.
Wait, I'm sorry. Who's speaking?
It's
Hello.
Tidal. I'll send you an email.
Recording
I'll send
stopped.
you an email.
Wait, who was just talking? Who went to a party at my brother's house?
Yes. First time in 6 years because it was an outdoor party. So I went.
The Sukkah.
No, it got rained out. So they made it a garden party the following week.
Right, you're right. I knew that, but I still don't know who's talking, but that's okay. I'm glad you had a good time.
I did. I'll email you. Bye.
Wild. Lila Tov.